Well, first off, it is really good to see you guys, even if it is in squares, Maria. I have, I've been seeing you guys and talking to basketball. We're excited. We're excited about getting to play basketball and this upcoming season. And I understand we still have to be flexible, and we have to be able to pivot at any moment. But we've had good practices. We have had a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. Our players have been really positive throughout this time. They seem pretty eager to take the court against an opponent. So, like I said, I'm thrilled. I love the way this team is shaping up, and excited to see what we can do.
So, Kellie, one more time, if you will, the uncertainty about what basketball might look like this season inside Thompson-Boling Arena.
Well, I think for us, we understand that protocols are going to make things look different for the bench, score table, seating arrangements, in-game events and activities. So, I think we get that, and we understand we're working with the SEC, our staff here working with the SEC on getting those protocols out there that are going to keep our student athletes safe, keep our spectators, staff safe as well. The court will remain the same size. So hopefully when our players take the court, they'll have a lot of familiarity there.
That worked better?
That was much better. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Let's go with Jimmy, followed by Graham Hayes.
Kellie, do you know if you're going to be able to start the season with that tournament in Melbourne, Florida, Thanksgiving weekend?
We found out last night we are not. So we are still working on non-conference scheduling. Things have the landscape is changing weekly, if not daily. So we're hoping to finalize our non-conference and get our conference schedule out sooner rather than later. But it's definitely been a challenge. And
what have you been most pleased about through your practices? I know you haven't had a lot, but what have you seen that you like?
Well, I think everybody has been on the same page in terms of learning and putting things in. And I think we've worked hard. I think our players have really come with great energy each and every day. Our communication has been much better than it was a year ago. Everybody's been very positive, and I think really embraced our returners and newcomers alike. So I think it's been a really good atmosphere. In terms of the basketball, it's still early. We're still working on putting things in, but I like the energy that we're using on defense, and I like the thought process that we have offensively at this point.
Graham Hayes.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for doing this. Just following up quickly on that last question with the multi-team event in Melbourne. Just what are the challenges of figuring out those multi-team events and making the testing protocols match up, and figuring out the scheduling? Just what kind of challenges are involved in getting involved in one of those?
Right. I think first off, you have going into this season, we knew who we were going to be playing at these tournaments. Everyone knew who their competition was going to be, how many games they were going to play. As conferences changed restrictions in terms of travel or in terms of their numbers of their conference schedule, teams started dropping out of tournaments. Teams started switching tournaments. And I think the hardest part has been knowing who is going where, which team is going to which tournament. And, we're trying to make sure that our schedule is solid and that we're getting the competition that we need to get. I think that was the first piece. The second piece is absolutely aligning the SEC and the University of Tennessee protocols with each tournament. Now, I do think in respect to those decisions, I think the tournament operators have been really great to work with and making sure that all those protocols are met.
All right, next we'll go with Gustavo, followed by Jordan and Vince.
Kelly, UConn seems to be, I think, confirmed. I saw in their website. Have you talked to Jima about this game? If there's still going to be the UConn Lady Vols matchup?
Well, right now, obviously, we haven't been able to announce anything on our end, but the Hall of Fame and it being a Naismith Hall of Fame game and women's basketball Hall of Fame game at Summit Foundation, it is still scheduled. Still scheduled for January 21st. I have not had conversations with them, but I know the administration for both schools as well as folks in those for those parties have been in touch.
And how are you able to communicate? If you communicate with your players during the off season, how are you able to keep them engaged during this tough times?
Yeah, so early on, back in the spring, which seems like a lifetime ago now, we couldn't do a whole lot, and we were trying to make sure we were face to face, just like this, having Zoom calls with them, talking to them about what could they be doing safely. Did they have access to a basketball goal outside? Did they have access just to a basketball and they could dribble inside? So we had a lot of conversations throughout that time, and then we were really intentional with our meetings. We had book clubs, we had diversity training, we had leadership meetings. We tried to be very intentional about staying engaged with our team, even when it was not on the court. And we tried to take advantage of that time and take advantage of those meetings, because that was a real great opportunity for growth for our team.
All right, Jordan, Vince, and then Will.
Hey, Kelly, you talked about kind of engaging your players off the court, but obviously with 3 true freshmen coming in, what does that process look like, getting them up to speed into playing kind of college basketball, and kind of where would you assess where they are in that transition into college basketball?
Well, I think we weren't able to get them here as early as normal. Typically, they would have been here towards the end of May. It was several weeks later that we got them on campus, but we've been able to work with them first in one-on-one settings, and then in small groups, and then as a team. So I think right now they're pretty comfortable with what we're doing. I think they're pretty excited about coming to practice every day and getting better. I think they have picked things up very quickly. The only thing that they're missing at this point is the experience, and they're not going to get that until they step out there in their first college game. So with where they're at right now, I've been really pleased.
Kelly,
Right,
back to this.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eric. Back to the scheduling. How layered are your what if scenarios for games? I mean, how deep does that have to go, or do you just have to wait because even your contingency plans could change? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it is layered. And, we have, all right, let's have plan A. And then if this doesn't happen or fall through, what's our next option? And we've been, one of the things that we have to do is as we're waiting on information, that's been one of the hardest things for me. We're hurry up and wait. We want it now, but we have to hurry up and wait until more information is had. And so as we are waiting on information to come across our desk and for us to find out some things, that's where you try to come up with your contingency plans and see, if we can't go to this tournament, or if this game falls through, then who are we going to slide in there? Can we slide a team in there? Who could that be? If they can go into this, or is it going to change and alter our game schedule? And we're also looking at strength of schedule as well, so trying to get comparable teams best we can. So it's definitely been a challenge. It's been a very complicated puzzle with moving parts.
All right, Will, and then Nicholas Hill.
As a first-year coach last season, as you were still evaluating your team, you tended to substitute in a lot of players. Do you still want to take that approach this season, especially with 5 newcomers and 2 new transfers, I guess, to try to get a fill?
Yeah, I believe going into this season, I feel more comfortable with our depth. I like playing players. They come to practice every day. They want to play. I think think when they get out there and earn playing time, I want to reward them with that. So, in terms of having a pretty liberal substitution pattern, we want to do that. It has to make sense. But right now, I think just numbers-wise, we just have a little bit more depth.
Nicholas?
Yeah, obviously, you're one lone senior and big-time return players from Nia Davis. Just talk about her development through this offseason, and what is the main thing you're looking for her heading into this upcoming year?
Well, I think, historically, one of the things that you can look at Renia's performances and see how she has improved every year. And I think she had a really good junior campaign. And what we would like to do is build on that, for her to take a really good season and even improve that. And I think that's, finding a little bit more diversity in her game. She's worked a lot on her ball handling, and she can really shoot. She can really score. She's a great athlete. I've been impressed with her defense this preseason. I think she's done a really good job on the ball and off the ball. She's an excellent rebounder. I think she can continue to improve in almost all of those areas. And, being Renia, we just want her to be Renia and just find just small ways to be better each and every day.
Jordan and then Vince.
Kellie, you said earlier that you felt like the communication was improved kind of this off season. Do you feel like that's maybe a result of all of those Zoom calls and having to rely solely on, kind of the communication aspect rather than the teaching aspect of it?
Yeah, so I really think that our communication has been better. And don't get me wrong, we're still working on it. It's still a work in progress. We want to continue to get better, but we are much improved in that area. I think it's three things. I think, one, we have worked so much off the court this summer. I think it is translating to the court. I think they understand how well they have to communicate to be successful. Two, I think our upperclassmen are just, they just have another year under their belt. They're a little bit more experienced. They're a little bit more confident. And when you have that confidence, it's easier to speak. It's easier to communicate on the court. And I think we're seeing that from them, which has been a really good positive. And then our newcomers, I think by nature are pretty vocal, and they're bringing a lot of energy. And so I think it's been a wonderful addition to our team, not only X's and O's, but also just their personalities and how they blend and fit in with this group.
Kellie, you may have touched on it a little bit there with your answer about the newcomers, but coaches often talk about the importance of chemistry. How would you assess where the chemistry is now compared to when you took over?
I think right now it's been really good. And don't get me wrong, it's not one of those things that you finally arrive, you check a box and you move on. It's constant. You have to work on it. And we do. We are very intentional about working on our team chemistry and finding ways to continue to build that confidence with each other. But I really like the way the vibe, it just feels good when you walk in. There's a really good feel. There's a great vibe to practice right now, or to any of our meetings. I think they're legitimately pulling for each other and understand how important that the teammate next to you is. Everybody has to be pulling in the right direction for us to do something special. It's not four people. Four people can't pull a team along. It's everybody. And I think they're really buying into that.
Jimmy, Carolyn, and Will.
Kellie, if you would, could you give us a thumbnail on the freshmen in the program, what you see, what you like out of each one?
Yeah, absolutely. Tess Darby she is an excellent shooter and a really hard worker. She is one of those players that will ask a lot of questions because she just wants to get it right, and comes from a winning program, and I think we feel that from her. Destiny Salary, same thing in terms of coming from a winning program. She brings a lot of energy, a lot of personality, which I think is just as important as any basketball skill she can bring. but right now on the court, she's doing a really good job handling the ball. She's doing a job getting to the basket and knocking down shots too. So we've really liked seeing her development this preseason. Marta Suarez is very dynamic. She has a wide skill set. She can play several positions. She's got a little baller in her, and is really fun to watch because she can make plays.
Carolyn?
Hi, Kelly. Good to see you. Can't wait to see you in person. I hope that happens soon. But two of your freshmen, I want to start with Jordan Horston and Tamari Key from last year. And where have you seen their improvement growing coming into this season?
We'll start with Jordan. I feel like her maturity level has been raised. I think she is already more consistent in coming up and showing up at practice, doing what she needs to do to be successful. She looks amazing right now. I mean, she looks the part. She walks out on the court. She's bigger and stronger than everybody. And I think what we're trying to work on is let's now translate that into your aggressiveness at the basket. She's knocking down shots. She's getting to the basket. So her strength and size right now could allow her to play more powerfully this season. I think Tamari is still she is just really talented. I think for her growth is still, just taking that talent to the next level, and not just being talented, but outworking someone or, being more aggressive on the court, not letting plays happen to her go out and make plays, because she is so capable of doing that.
And then Ray Burrell went from that sixth man to starting the final part of the season. So, what are you seeing from her right now? Yeah,
so Ray, first off, I think she was the ultimate sixth man. Absolutely. That is what you want. You want somebody coming in fearless, playing downhill, being aggressive, coming off the bench, because that's firepower coming off the bench. So I thought that was a great role that she filled for us. But she did a really good job when she stepped in the starting role, for sure. I think, again, she's still showing that aggressiveness. She's showing a lot of high energy plays. She's knocked down a lot of shots. I think she's had some really good practices, and the more she plays, the better she's going to get, in my opinion.
And then my last question is, with SEC football, a lot of people are talking about the defense has been behind. Do you see that could possibly play a part in women's basketball in the SEC? And where do you feel like you're so defensive-minded, where your defense is compared to where your offense is?
That's such a great point. We have spent more time on our offense. I will say we've spent a lot of time on offense this off season, and a lot of that is by design. If at any point, we could lose practices, due to COVID, and so what we've tried to do is front load, put as much of the teaching aspects that we can have in. We put that in early, so that at any point we're still going to be in pretty good shape in terms of what we can do. And I think for us, we felt like the defense would be one of those things that we could pick up late if we needed to. So we've been heavy on the offense early on, and then by design, and then we've really picked up the defense. I've been proud of them, how they've started off the preseason defensively. So hopefully we can stick with that.
Let's go with Will, and then Maria Cornelius, and then Nicholas.
When you're talking about earlier having, more depth this season than years past, what are some challenges that you anticipate when you try to, I guess, get players minutes and try to have a deep rotation like you did last year?
Well, I think the issues arise because players want to play. You know, everybody wants to play as many minutes as they could possibly play. But I think if you go back and look at my teams historically, have played a lot of people. It just takes communication with your players. I think it also just takes them buying in and understanding how effective and beneficial it is to have a solid, deep rotation, and when and where the positives will show will be at the end of the year, at the end of the game, when you've got a little bit more fresh legs. And, you know, I feel really good about it. I see less challenges than positives.
Maria?
Hey, Kelly, I wanted to ask you about your double Jordans, Jordan Horston, Jordan Walker. Have you figured out how to distinguish them in practice yet? What's the point guard situation there? And also, if you could just give us an overview of Kean Green and how she's been doing.
Okay. So Jordan Horston, I called her Jordy last year. And then when Jordan Walker arrived, she said her nickname was Jordy. So we couldn't have two Jordans with nicknames Jordy. So Jordan Walker has, she is affectionately called Joe. So JoJo or Joe is Jordan Walker. So we'll refer to Jordan Horston and Joe Walker. But yes, both of those players are playing point right now, as well as Destiny Salary. We're trying to get those three solid reps throughout the practices. Jordan Horston and Destiny Salary can also play the off guard with no problem. So we can play those players together, which gives me, again, depth, but a lot of different combinations, which I think is really, really valuable and useful. But they've done well. I think they're picking things up. I've really been impressed with Destiny Salary and Jordan Walker walking in and stepping up, being vocal, asking questions, getting things right, being aggressive. They've not played timid at all, and I think that's tough to do, especially at a point guard position when you're new. So really, really proud of them and really excited about their growth. Kean Green has made a big impact on our team already. She comes in with great maturity, great leadership, unbelievable work ethic on the court. I think she took 4 charges in one practice. I mean, this is a tough, hard-nosed kid that wants the basketball, and if you don't throw it to her, she'll just go get the rebound. So she's been really good for us thus far.
Did you say that she took 4 charges? I don't know that you had anybody take 4 charges total last year. She took those in practice?
Yeah. Trust me, I already know that. Yes. So, yes, that's why I want to make a note of that. 4 in one practice is pretty impressive.
Nicholas, Graham, and Jimmy.
Yeah, Coach. So the other night, your team had a roundtable discussing social issues with UTPD and Knoxville PD. Just talk about how that came about and what did your team gain out of it?
Well, we are having ongoing diversity, inclusion, equality discussions, and we are consistently having conversations with our team to educate, to find our voice, and to also find where we can make a difference, where our team and as a whole can make a difference. So we have different discussions every couple of weeks, and we were very fortunate to have Chief Lane, one of his officers, Officer Bomar, and then a local police officer, Clemens, come and answer questions from our group. It was very insightful, and I think that our players have I think they really appreciated their time and also their experience, and just sharing a different lens on what's going on in the world.
Go ahead and go to Jimmy. I see Graham, you lowered your hand. If you want to ask a question, go ahead and raise that again for me, please. Jimmy?
Kelly, how important is it for this team to get consistent low post scoring, and do you think you're capable of that?
We're definitely capable. I think the consistency was lacking last year. We would have a game where we really scored underneath, and then maybe have a couple games where we didn't. We're talented enough, and I think we've got the personnel to do it. I think for us, for our offense to be as good as it can possibly be, we need great balance with not just interior scoring, but in scoring in the paint, off the dribble, scoring behind the three-point line, scoring in transition, scoring at the free throw line. So I think, we want to be able to put points on the board in a variety of ways. Obviously, low post work will be part of that.
Vince, and then Maria.
Kelly, have you guys talked about as a team any plans for Election Day or even early voting, anything organized within your team that you can share?
Yes, we have. So we have 100% registration to vote at this point, and we're working on getting absentee ballots because most of our players are going to be voting by absentee ballot. So we're working on getting those in and turned in. We are off that day, and just to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to get out and vote. I think a lot of our staff has either early voted or is planning on early voting, and I think we're still a few weeks out, so we got some opportunities to think about what we could do as a program to assist in helping promote voting this year.
Maria.
Kelly, you already talked about Tamari Key and Kian. I wanted to ask you about your post depth this year and size. Cassie, the off season she had and how that's made her better. And then your other two posts, Jaden, I know she was limited somewhat last season by injury. Emily Saunders, of course, was a freshman post. That's a very difficult position to be in. But where are the three of them right now? And how can they help you this season?
Cassie has had a terrific off season. She looks great. She has practiced with more confidence. She's been really, really good, and I'm proud of her. She has a motivation going into her senior year that she wants to go out and have a really strong senior season, and she's had a good off season to get that started. Jaden McCoy, again, I think for her, being able to be that rebounder, that player that can score on the block, can play a little bit of perimeter for us in a 4-out situation, be the player that is going to help us be better when she steps on the court, right? Be a great defender, be very versatile in who she guards, and we need to be able to have that trust in her when she goes out there that she's going to be solid. That's what we need from her to be the best we can be. And then Emily, I think she's just continuing to work and play at this speed and, try to find ways to use her size, because that is her advantage when she's out on the court.
All right, we'll take one final question from Carolyn Peck.
To go along with that, Kelly, so many coaches are talking about playing with pace, and I feel like they're doing that because they don't have size. You have size. So at what tempo do you want to see your team play this season?
Well, I want to play with pace too, and because the great thing is my size is mobile. They can go, and so, Cassie is flying down the court. Tamari Key can really run. Key and Green is as fast as about any guard we have. So I think we've got some speed in the interior. So just because we're big, that doesn't mean we want to play slow. We still want to get up and down the court. Tamari Key, if she runs the floor well and she beats a post down the court, guards are going to struggle guarding her at the basket if there's a mismatch in transition. So we want to try to take advantage of that. And our guards will push the ball. They'll push the ball. So there will be some opportunities for our post players that they'll get down the court. And I think they will.
All right, Coach. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. You'll have a great day.